The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
How have you guys wanted to respond to some of the physicality? Obviously, there's a scuffle early between Al and KCP there. What was that moment like for you guys, and how have you wanted to respond to some of those moments?
I mean, we're gonna be us, you know. We're not gonna let anybody like punk us, and we expect teams to be doing this kind of stuff, to get in our heads, to try to provoke us, to try to maybe get some reaction out of us, some technical, maybe something. You know, it's an emotional game, obviously. So we weren't surprised, but you know, we're just not gonna take it. You know, so it's gonna, you know, we're gonna hit them right back.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod coming to you after Celtics take down the Magic 109-100, Game 2. TD Garden, Kayla Burton.
Live on the floor.
It's like the after party for us.
After party. We had Derrick White crash the party.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest. Is that like celebrity crashes?
Yeah.
I think Derrick White is probably on the top of the list.
What I think we should do is just extend the invite to anyone who's at the Garden.
Show up.
If you're here for a playoff game and you want to hang a little bit later, we have some fun. You know, we try to bring some energy.
Yeah.
Talk about your fits. Talk about whatever project you're
The
working
style.
on. You trying to slang some beer? We can talk about that.
I'm trying to get a Sam Adams shirt that Derek said he could
He shuts you down.
ask around.
Shuts you down pretty quickly.
Yeah, you know, I respect him for being honest.
We also have to be completely transparent here before we get into the game. So when we record these things, normally we're like away from people.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when we're in the studio, we're in like a little booth where no one can hear us. Can scream as loud as I want, say as much ridiculousness as possible. In the playoffs, we get put next to people.
Yep.
And sometimes they're doing live shots, which it helps to have like as much focus as possible as someone who's has to do those at some point. You know, well,
It's impressive. Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people that are angry.
Well, it's funny because we
are
started this
loud.
and we're like, "What's up?" And it's like, bam! And I don't know. I think there's someone going live right now. But I mean, come on, they need to hear our voices. We're just trying to have fun. We're here on the court. It's post game.
Playoffs.
This was a great.
Thank you for bringing us back on track.
I got us.
This was a gutsy, gritty win, and we have cameramen who are mimicking golf swings throughout the like as if I'm trying to stay locked in. This was a gritty win. So the whole story throughout the day, of course, Jason Tatum, will he play, won't he play, listed as doubtful. You know, when the Celtics didn't upgrade him to questionable midday, which is, you know, sometimes the guy's feeling a little bit better, you want to give him the chance. I was like, Jason Tatum might actually miss a playoff game, his first missed playoff game of his NBA career.
As if doubtful wasn't enough to doubt that he was
right.
Like, I really didn't believe, like, yeah, right, doubtful,
exactly.
doubtful, sure. This guy's not doubtful, he's playing. And I said in the pregame live, breaking news, as if, like, you know, the sky was falling, which it kind of did.
Any other player, we'd be like, yeah, of course, they went from doubtful to out. And Jason Tatum, we're like, wait, he's really not playing?
Yeah.
But what the Celtics do is they get contributions across the board, most notably Jaylen Brown. Final stat line, 36 points, 12 of 19 shooting, 5 of 7 beyond the three-point arc, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, over 42 minutes.
He was a dog tonight.
So just to remind you, like a week ago, not even a week ago, like 3 days ago, we were sitting here going, is Jaylen Brown going to be able to be effective in this series? And then essentially asked to fill the void left by his other superstar teammate. Jaylen Brown goes out there and has maybe one of the best performances in a long time. And he had 31 against Phoenix, but this was big-time buckets against a gritty defense on a playoff stage in a game that you want Jason Tatum to be like, hey, you can take a night. And Jaylen Brown goes out there and does what he does.
He did it early, too, which just made the whole crowd get up. And look, if you're playing here at the TD Garden playoff times, even if you're home in general during the regular season, but especially in playoffs, Chris, like, he had 10 points in just 5 minutes of the game. And we're like, okay, can he sustain this? Will this be, you know, first half Jaylen, and then he may rest, and we'll see where other guys, you know, step up and do their thing. But no, he carried it out all the way to the end. And my favorite was this. So he went up, got fouled. They didn't call it, which Eddie House would argue 12 times out of 10 that it was a foul. And then he doesn't complain. Let me look at the ref like, dude, what? But he hustles back and then gets that steal, and then seconds later dunks it. Yes. And it's like, that's the type of playoff attitude that you have to have. Because even when you don't get the calls, things don't go your way. You know, you could argue and throw a green light special, but he was still able to say, oh, I'm going to make a play, and that's what he did.
There was that one dunk where Orlando called the timeout, and he pretty much almost trucked Jamal Mosley on the sideline. I was like, oh, JB is fired up. This is a different brand of JB tonight.
It got chippy, too.
I mean,
it got chippy.
This game got chippy. We're going to get into a lot of that. Yeah. But Jaylen Brown, fantastic in this game. Here he was at the podium after the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a physical game all night long. For me, just getting my jumper going, I think that kind of opened some stuff up. And just, playing the game, that's it, getting to my spots. It come down to it. It was just, making plays for my team. It wasn't too many X's and O's. It just came down to making plays. I think going into the next game, we got to find ways to improve the efficiency of our offense a little bit, and I think we'll look at that and see which ways we can get better at, like 10 or 15 possessions, where we had some wasted possessions. But great effort from our team to pull out a win.
Jaylen, how in general do you approach games when Jason's not going to play, when you know he's not going to be out there with you, and how specifically did that affect your mindset going into tonight's game and your plan?
Just no different. Obviously, JT is, the offensive leader of our team. We all kind of play off of him, but, any given night, I could, rise to the occasion. I just do what the team needs me to do. I've taken that mentality, and I think sometimes people, think that's like the only thing that you can do. So, tonight I got lucky, I guess, but we'll be ready for the next one.
Why do you say you got lucky tonight?
Made some shots, some tough baskets, but we got to be better for Game 3.
Jaylen, do you and the guys inside the locker room take exception to Orlando thinking they can beat you guys with physicality?
We should, yeah, I think so. And Orlando's a good team. I give credit to them. They play hard and they don't go away. And they are very physical, and they're a good defensive team. So we do get up for that challenge. But we got to stay in the fight. And on the road, it's going to be even more of a test. So tonight we did enough, but there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. We got to be able to adjust and adapt quickly and get ready for Game 3. Every game has its own story. This game was one, last game was another story, and the next one's going to be something else. We just got to be the ones telling that story rather than the ones watching it or listening to it.
And then the legend of Kristaps continues to grow. Joe, partially joking, said, I love watching him bleed on the court. What does that do for you guys when he has those moments?
That's great. It's a great sign. KP battled all night. He had physical possessions, timely baskets, and he probably left a couple baskets that he had on the table, but he came out and competed, and that's what we want to see. So even through injury, even through blood everywhere, I feel like that fires KP up even more. So we're looking to get him going on these road games because I feel like he can change the series at any point in time. He didn't shoot the ball well tonight. He was 0 for 5 from 3, but we know how good of a shooter he is. So trying to find ways to get him going on the road would be key.
Last question, Noah.
Jaylen, we've heard a lot from your teammates about your Warriors mindset. How would you describe what that is to those of us that just kind of hear that term but don't necessarily know exactly what that means? Kristaps has referred to you with that a couple of times.
It's just faith, consistency, hard work pays off. Just something I've lived by since the beginning. I think my first interview with Boston, I said I was going to go to war for this city. And I don't think nothing has changed. So whatever it takes every single night, you leave it out there and you hope for the best.
So, I love JB saying, when I first got drafted, I said I was going to go to war for this city. All these years later, still putting on that helmet and going to war.
It's the best.
He's so good.
And this place loves him, and I just
in
hope
case you forgot how good Jaylen Brown was.
Yeah, he reminded me.
Because I think there were some people out there who, while he's navigating this injury, and we're sort of like, didn't have an All-NBA season, didn't hit the threshold. would have been struggling to get into that conversation anyway because of some inconsistencies late in the year caused by the injuries.
And then you get even more nervous because you're like, okay, now Jason Tatum has an injury.
Right.
Is Jaylen at his full strength? We don't really know. He only played one game, and we still are not sure. But he just reminded everyone, no, I'm good. I'm better than good.
Now let's get to the really fun stuff. Not for the guy involved, but for us. Kristaps Porzingis.
It was like a movie.
Took an elbow to the dome. So remind you, this was 2 weeks ago. He gets hit by Cody Martin against Phoenix, busts up his nose, or between his nose. I think it was 3 stitches then.
I think it was 3 stitches.
Is just finally losing the scar from that. And Goga Patazde, boom, puts an elbow in his cranium. He came to the podium with now stitched up, and it's a gigantic egg.
It's a gash.
And
5 stitches, right?
5 stitches, which doesn't seem possible. They must have been Kristaps Porzingis-sized stitches.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it felt like that was going to take double digits to close up. Yeah. And yet, so he goes to the floor. There's blood in his hair. He gets right back up. Takes a minute. It kind of clearly hurt. Yeah. Plays to the crowd. Goes to the back. And then the Celtics realize, oh, man, he's got to shoot free throws.
The blood was oozing down the back of his head.
Like 2 racing
you would
stripes.
think it was like just going at the front of your face, and he's wiping it off, smiling, like blood on the teeth, just like, yeah, I love you, Boston. And Boston's like having a moment with Kristaps once again. And there's actually a really great moment too where Jason Tatum is just looking at Kristaps when he comes back, and he's like, damn. Tatum's face is stuck because he's just like, dude, did this really just happen to you again?
I think my favorite part is he came back out to shoot the free throw. So he's got the giant bandage on, just trying to patch it enough to get through the free throws. And they're literally like scrubbing the back of his head, trying to get the dried blood out.
So theatrical.
Yeah, and well, it didn't work. He eventually came back, and he still had the blood streaks in his hair. So credit to Kristaps. By far the best quote came from Joe Mazzulla, who said, well, you just take a listen.
I didn't see anything. I just knew he had to shoot the free throws in order to come back in the game, and then he came back and helped us finish it off. So appreciate his toughness. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that he's doing tonight, I think, showed up on the box score, obviously with 20 points and 10 rebounds, but he's bringing a physical dimension for us on both ends of the floor. That's really important.
Joe, it's the second time in like 2 or 3 weeks he's been cut and needed stitches. I mean, you're a USC guy. Like, you got to admire just kind of him just going back and getting stitched and coming back out. I mean, that's something that's got to kind of, touch you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like his overall just approach. I think he has an innate ability to take things very serious and at the same time, have great perspective. And, you see how I think he can control his environment really well with how he handles the crowd and how he handles the physicality of it. And he can maintain his poise. And he just has a great way about him. And I think that helps us. And I do. I love watching him. I like watching him bleed on the court. I think it's important. And then he comes back in and does his job. So I do like that about him.
I like watching him bleed on the floor.
Do we expect anything else?
No.
Do we expect anything less? Anything else?
Joe was not grumpy during that post-game press conference, but direct because some of the questions just he wasn't feeling. And I love that when it got to the Kristaps stuff, he kind of lit up. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I want to engage in this. This I am willing to talk about. UFC style." I think he has the ultimate respect for anybody, as we learned the other day when he's telling Jason Tatum to get up. Is that Joe Mazzulla loves when guys can take that sort of punishment, show no weakness, and come right back into this game and be ready to fight.
Isn't it amazing too that not too long ago in your last podcast we were just talking about, him, like you mentioned, get up. Like that was the big headline. And now you look at all over Bleacher Report, ESPN, NBC Sports Boston, everywhere. You just see Kristaps on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, X. And it's just blood oozing down. And it's so fun because the Celtics just have, knock on wood, but like a positive new headline each week in each day, and but it shows the grit of this team. It shows look, the big headline going into this was Jason Tatum leaving this gym here tonight. It was Kristaps Porzingis having blood trickling down his face, and the C's coming out with a win.
We knew this was going to be a physical series, that this was bound to happen. I didn't think 2 guys in 2 games would be this dinged up, but a credit to Kristaps for eating an elbow like that and finding a way to stand in there. I keep saying it, when we build a statue outside the Garden, just put the patch right over the eyes, We'll have a championship trophy in each arm after this season and last, and then some blood oozing down perpetually.
How often do we see guys respond the way Kristaps does and embrace it? You would see guys getting upset,
The Celtics
pissed
have a lot
off.
of them because you know what?
Other than the Celtics,
Oh, God,
I'm saying
never.
guys throughout the league. And this, no knock on LeBron but when they go down, it's like.
Did you see the
Kristaps
one yesterday?
embraces
LeBron's
it.
look,
the whole. I know. We see
peeking.
it. And look, LeBron does his thing. I'm not coming at his game or anything, but when it comes to Kristaps' response to it, Joe just instills that in this team. He says, "Hey, if you get down, smash your head again," which I don't know if I agree with 100%, but that's the type of toughness that they ride with.
And the Celtics are like a hockey team. Maybe it's because we're in a
was a
hockey
hockey
building,
team.
whatever the case may be. But
great
you got Derrick White, gets smashed in the face, loses a tooth, whatever. He's back on the court. These guys are super tough. Speaking of tough, let's talk a little bit about Derrick White. Derrick White in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter D White.
He had some foul trouble, so they ended up having to pull him out of towards the end of the fourth quarter, just in case things got dicey. And Payton Pritchard played well to the finish line of this game. But Derrick White, a couple 3-pointers early in that fourth quarter, just stiff arm any hopes the Magic had of getting back into this game. I don't want to say it surprised me because this is what Derrick White does, but fourth quarter Derrick pretty good.
That's what this team needs going down the stretch here. That fourth quarter Derrick White is going to just give the life in the garden, the life of the team. Things, look, it's not going to be smooth. It's very rare that you see a playoff series, whether it's the first round, second round, Eastern Conference Finals, or the NBA Finals. They're going to need a spark, and it can't always be Payton Pritchard coming off the bench. It may take into the fourth quarter, and so if Derrick White can sustain what he's done all season, and then this, and get to the end, man, it's a wrap.
We were lucky enough on Celtics Post-Up,
Yes.
the original after party, to get a chance to sit down with Derrick White and ask him, about his fit, about his pockets full of threes, about the effort JB gave out here. Here's Derrick White after the game.
Derrick, I don't know. I know usually you have to, go do recovery and everything. I don't know if you tuned into our little post-up party, but when it came to the Colorado days, right, did you have the post-up kind of a situation?
What's the deal? Something like that. Those were the good days back in college. Getting a little older now, so definitely more recovery time than back in college, but it's all good stuff.
What do you do after one? Do you lift? What goes on after, especially out in the playoffs? Do you do anything different?
We're working on the situation.
Yeah, we've never done this.
I lift in the mornings, so I really just ice, cold tub, or just put ice on my knees and put my feet in the ice bucket. So that's really the most important part, is just kind of ice and then kind of just relaxing.
So before we get to the game part and the fact that you guys are now 2-0 against Orlando, going down to Orlando Friday, or for you tomorrow, I guess, we really like to feature some of the fits. What do we have going on here? Because I like the all-black theme.
This is not typical Derrick sweatsuit.
No.
Yeah, no, this is nice. I don't know, put a little something together. Matches, nice little suit.
Do you pick out your fits?
No. In the regular season, I do.
Okay.
But in the playoffs,
you go to a different level?
We got to step it up.
Wow. That's impressive. Speaking of stepping it up in the postseason, across the board, you guys got contributions, but to watch JB on a night you don't have Jason do what he did, what's that like?
He's special. Just kind of did whatever we need him to do today, and we don't really expect anything differently from him, and he knew it would be a big one today, and he came through for us.
I don't mean to sound cliche, but you guys look like you are having so much fun out there. Towards the end of the regular season, you and Jason having that Freaky Friday kind of twinning thing. You promised me a headband game, but I actually like the Freaky Friday, twin thing better. You switched it up. But even now, Jason Tatum's out here on the bench, and he's not playing here today because of his injury, but he's still up. You see Drew Holiday get a dunk. By the way, what were your thoughts when you saw Drew get up on that?
Yeah,
you shocked?
That was impressive. I haven't seen Drew jump like that in a couple of years, but that was impressive. But we just all get along, and we just love celebrating each other's success. And so when you have a bunch of selfless guys like we do, and everybody just going for the same goal, it's a lot of fun.
used to be you who got teeth knocked out and bloody lip and all that, but now KP has taken that baton. You, what is it like when you see a teammate gushing as much blood as he has and just savoring the moment? What's that like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't think it could have happened to a better person, someone that kind of enjoys that as much as KP does. And so when he came back and had to shoot the free throws, I'm like, if you make these free throws, you're going to be a legend. And so, definitely it's good to see he's okay, but I know he loved it.
And seeing Kristaps, we have the great view because we're here in like the media section. You see Kristaps like having the blood coming down his face, and then we were waiting for the smile, and sure enough, boom! And I thought he was going to be in the locker room for a little bit longer. 5 seconds later, he comes out, goes to the free throw line, and then gets more treatment. But what's the fan base? What does the fan base do for you guys?
It's amazing. Anytime you're playing out here, it's special, and you put on the Celtics uniform when you're out here at the Garden, and you just feel the energy every time you step on the court. So, I love playing here and being part of this organization, and it's definitely special to play for its fans.
What is it about the fourth quarter? I mean, it just feels like maybe there's more threes in the pocket at that point. How do you keep those shorts up at that point?
I don't know. Just trying to make a play. Just do whatever it takes to help us win the game, and it's always good finding a couple threes in the pocket.
Is that fun? When watching all those guys, kind of your whole bench is digging into their pockets now.
Yeah.
Did you expect it to take off the way it has?
Nah. Obviously, the first time I did it was just a lot of fun, and it's definitely blown up, probably bigger than I expected. But it's always nice. You hit a three, and you look over at your guys, and they're all standing up and cheering you on. So that's definitely a cool feeling.
Last question, because it is the after party. You know what I mean? Can I get a Sam Adams shirt? You got some extras of those?
We'll see. I'll try to make some calls for you and see what I can do.
Putting the man on the
Derrick White, the man of the hour. Hey, thank you so much.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
I guess we should fold some more Payton Pritchard into this conversation.
Please.
Another big night.
Pritch, please.
Gets honored with the Sixth Man of the Year trophy before the game. A nice little emotional moment. Brad Stevens is out there with him. Everyone's smiling. And then Payton Pritchard, a player who sat at the podium and, as you said, talked about consistency and wanting that to be a goal of this season, and which has helped delivered him to Sixth Man of the Year. Goes out there and has another big game against a team that coming into this series, I was like, I don't know if this is necessarily a Payton Pritchard series because of the size and length that this team has, and yet he has made it a Payton Pritchard series.
He's going to be one of those guys, like decades from now, that you're still going to be talking about because, and yes, we hope that he is here with the Celtics for as long as he can be. Because he is a starter. He has every right
Eventually
to be a starter.
will be.
But I love that he's not, and I love that he got Sixth Man of the Year. Because Sixth Man means that you're not a starter. You're all coming off the bench, and that's what he's been doing. And I always say this, a star in his role, but he really is, Chris. I mean, how consistent he's been. He has the most three-point made shots off the bench if you look at the statistics. But he's been consistent, and he's having fun out there, which I think just adds to his consistency and his confidence right now. It's really fun to see.
What I love most is that, again, we have a perception of Payton Pritchard, right? Like if you asked a team in, like, let's say the Sacramento Kings fan, would say, what do you think about Payton Pritchard? They say, oh, love his three-point shooters, led the NBA in bench three-pointers, love the half-court buzzer beaters, and they would be missing so much of what makes Payton one of the best bench players in the NBA, and it was on display tonight. Unafraid to go to the basket and mingle amongst the trees, muscle home a tough basket, get an and one, show a little emotion. Or my favorite play, maybe of the game, is he picks up Paolo on defense. It's a one-on-one matchup. Everyone clears out. Here's this elite superstar scorer going up against Payton Pritchard, 6'1". And what does Payton do? He generates a miss. Ironically, it was then that KP got drilled in the head.
It was all part of the movie
But
that we saw here tonight.
ultimately, he can blame Payton Pritchard for being so good defensively.
Yeah, exactly. And KP should actually go to Payton and say, this is your fault, but both of them should be, applauding each other. He's a menace, and he does it in the paint. Like, it's so great to see. We see buzzer beater P, especially in that NBA Finals, in the championship game. But to see him get into the paint and really, like, develop a different part of his game that I've seen take a leap from last year to this year, I mean, that's what makes him one of the best, not only bench players, but can be players in this league.
I know you're new to the postseason pod.
I know. I'm working on it, guys.
I'm not sure how much exposure you've had to our cameraman, Al.
Is this? I think this is our second time? Al? I'm looking at him twice. It is second. He's already giving me a dirty look because I did say second. I did say second. Okay. Al, it's our second time.
So what we like to do, we have built in a segment where it's we call it the Avalanche. And much like there's a wrestler called Joe Hendry that when you say his name, he appears. So when I say Al's name,
yes. Bring him out. Bring him out.
He comes into it.
Bring him out. What's happening?
He's doing a new intro.
Oh, okay.
Here's Al.
Hey. Yes. Can I dab? Okay.
For those of you watching on the YouTube version, you saw him do his very theatrical WWE entrance. If you're listening on the audio version, he was milking it for the camera because his wife has put him up to a special entrance.
Every time you bring me on, she wants a new entrance.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Respect her. She's like, baby, bring me something new.
You got her into watching WWE, she says.
Oh, well. If there's one thing I can do, it's funny. I make fun of people so Al is a big Star Wars guy, and I think you brought this up too. I am not a Star Wars person. I am not a nerd like you guys.
Wow.
And
shots fired.
But I did grow up watching an abundance of wrestling. So.
Did you?
You watched wrestling on the court today, though, as well.
I did.
Kind of like WrestleMania weekend led into these games. You must have been watching WrestleMania after Game 1.
These guys were watching Seth Rollins all weekend and John Cena. Yeah, I'm with you. What did you learn today that you would like to impart on the listeners?
Impress your wife.
Well, besides the crazy
big
Celtics
pressure
fans
here.
being amazing as always outside and very respectful. The Celtics just, they're not going to let anybody bully them. I think that's the biggest thing. They kind of let it slide Game 1, and then tonight they kind of said, you know what, we let you guys slide. We are the defending champs for a reason.
Yes.
So, stop.
I like this take.
Stop.
Stop to the bully.
I like this take especially because when I'm outside, sometimes things get a little rowdy, and this man takes no bull. He gets up in people's faces. The people
I know you got that SD hat on, but you're also you ride for the city.
It's not that I don't take no bull. It's like, hey guys, I want to feature you guys. Chris loves you guys. Let's be respectful.
Which, by the way, Al, you can agree with me on this. Chris's fan base is like nothing that I've ever seen. I'm sitting next to this guy. I'm gonna hype you up for a sec. But you guys know, you who follow religiously on Celtics Talk Pod or NBC Sports Boston, he has his own fan base every time, right? It's like Chris Forsberg, Chris.
It's the best because I don't hear anybody.
You should have seen this guy like peacocking though. Like when people call his name, he's just like it's like
I sit next to you.
The peacock. I mean, it's just like
I have to sit next to him like Chris. Chris, you got somebody.
Yeah.
Chris left. 12 o'clock.
I need somebody to help me out. It's not that I'm trying to ignore people. It is that I am deaf, and
I'll be your caddy.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You Tiger Woods.
What's funny is like people will say, "Hey, Chris," and I won't hear them. But then they'll say something else, and I think they're saying, "Hey, Chris," and I'm like waving. So it's a double-edged sword.
But it works because there's always someone that waves back.
Just very regal.
On that note.
Okay.
Oh!
Yeah, there we go. What a walk-off.
I liked that one. Ow.
And welcome to our post-game pods, where, like in the playoffs, things go off the rails quickly. But the people that stick around to the end, you guys are the true super fans. Appreciate you. We're going to be back with you after Game 3 on Friday night. We'll be back in the podcast studio. My last couple days here in the studio, because I'm getting out on the road, Kayla. You're on your own.
Are you really?
Yeah, yeah.
You out?
I'll explain to you later. I need everybody to go like, go subscribe, go check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.